Hi, I'm Dr. Lloyd Corder. Welcome to week 12 of the weekly videos. This is the last of our topic videos for this particular online nonverbal communication course. And as in every week, I'd like to give you a little preview of what's going on this week. Our topic, something again very interesting, called space. And what does space communicate? And the status, and what kind of impact does it have on communication? And so these are some of the big things that we're worried about this particular week. Now, think about this. Who has the bigger office, the boss or the intern? Probably the boss. Who has the corner office? The person of higher status versus the cubicle, someone of lower status. So in even an office setting, it communicates something. How about whose house is bigger? Does it communicate wealth or status, or who's got the better looking car? These are all things that communicate things about who we are and what impact they have. One of the most interesting things about space that I want to share with you are on seating arrangements. And if we look at this for a moment, I've got a couple slides here I want to share with you. First one I have is where the distance you communicate something, does it have an impact? And we have four distances I'd like you to look at. We have what I call an intimate distance, where you're close to someone, that's within 18 inches. Personal distance, maybe 18 inches to 4 feet. We have kind of a social distance, 4 feet to 12 feet, and there's a desk in between here. And then we have public, where somebody's speaking to an audience. What do we know about this particular setup or arrangement? What we found is that you can communicate the same information, but where you communicate it based on that space will have a dramatically different interpretation. If I'm one-on-one with you and we're standing right next to each other and I tell you, I've been having a rough time and things aren't going so well and I've got some emotional challenge and issues, you might think that I'm confiding in you and I'm telling you something special. I say that same thing in front of 50 people at a seminar, they're going to think I'm crazy and I need to get the heck off the stage. So this is where I'm talking about the same information can be communicated very differently. So I've mentioned in an earlier video, but it's worth repeating here, where you discipline someone, we talked about if you're a manager, you don't want to touch them. Where you discipline them is also equally important. What do? You praise people in public. You tell them, hey, you're doing a good job, but you tell them you're doing a great job in front of other people. They like that. That gets them pumped up. That will help you become a better manager and a leader. If you've got a problem with them, you don't say in front of 50 people, hey, you suck, or I've got this problem with you, or we've got an issue. Instead, you say that in private, one-on-one with the door closed. It allows them to save face. So where you communicate, that matters. Now the other one is on seating arrangements. Let's take a look at this one for a second. What we found in seating arrangements is when you're seated at the opposite sides of the table, or like this is much more of a competitive seating arrangement versus what I would call a cooperative one, where you're on the same side or a 45-degree angle. Now, why is this important? Because a lot of people don't realize that where you sit will influence how persuasive you are. When I go on a sales call and I'm meeting a client that has 2 or 3 team members or a prospect, and I'm taking 1 or 2 of my people, the worst thing we can do is one team on one side of the table, the other team on the other. That meeting's going to go horribly. We're really going to have to work hard to overcome it. So we try to get there first, and I always tell my staff, you sit over there, and I'll sit over here. And I'm always trying to sit next to the person and I need to persuade the most, because I found if they're seated within a couple feet of me, it's very difficult for them to fight with me and disagree with me. We're getting along better just because of the way we're set up. This has worked in many, many professional situations. Many professional salespeople will tell you the same thing. Even on a job interview, one of the things I've learned, and I encourage you and other students to do, is to take notes. And if you're seated with a chair across the room, then pick the chair up, come over and move over to the desk, take over part of that, and start taking your notes on it. What are you doing? You're getting closer. You're reducing that distance. You're leveling the playing field, so to speak. So it's like if you imagine a football game. One team's on one side, the other team's on the other side. Or union negotiations. One team on one side, one team on the other side. The faster we get away from that, the less competition we're going to have and the more cooperation we're going to have. So again, there's a lot of other great information on space, seating arrangements, what all space communicates, and you're going to have some great discussion questions and experiment opportunities and all sorts of things to happen this week. So again, thank you very much for listening to these video overviews. I hope they've helped you quickly get a perspective on a few key thoughts that are important for each week. Thank you very much, and we'll talk with you again soon.